Hey y'all, I'm back with my March 2021 reading wrap up. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Books with Kimberly. I hope that you guys are having a great weekend. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I want to say welcome to all of my new subscribers and thank you to everyone who's been getting down in those comments and talking back with me. Let's get into my March 2021 reading wrap up. So this month I read a total of 5 books. Okay, well actually I read 6. One of the books I was not going to speak of, but you know what? I'm grown. And I can admit, mama, my auntie who watching, y'all know that I'm grown now. You know, my nieces and nephews, just kind of turn your ears off at this moment. But I did read a book by Katrina Jackson called Neighborly. It is an erotic romance. And I will say that this book was probably 80% erotic novel and 20% romance. But it was good and interesting, well written. There was plus size representation, black love. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm just going to go back to the other 5 books. The first book I did a standalone review for, and that's Something on the Side by Carl Weber. This book was a reread for me. I read it over 10 years ago and I did an entire review on it. So go check that video out. I'll just say briefly that this book is about a book club, a big girls book club, and these women get together and they read books, and all of them, honey, got lots of drama and messiness going on. It's a lot going on, but I was here for all of it. The next 2 books I also did together in a review. The title of this video was, Did These Books Live Up to the Hype? And that's Verity by Colleen Hoover and The Silent Patient by Michaelides. Both of these books were thriller, psychological thriller, very suspenseful. I enjoyed them. They had me on the edge of my seat. I will say that Colleen Hoover's Verity was about a young girl. She's an author and she gets the opportunity to write books for Verity. She has to finish her series because Verity took ill and cannot write them. And as she is going through the notes of Verity, she discovers a manuscript of an autobiography, and she starts to realize who Verity really is. At the same time, she's falling for the girl's husband. The Silent Patient is about Theo. Theo is a psychotherapist, and he gets a new job at a psychiatric hospital, and his patient, Alicia, she murdered her husband like 5 years ago and she's been mute ever since. And so he's trying to prick and get into her mind so that she can start talking again. I read Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. Y'all, this book was so good. I will say that this book had zero hype. When I tell y'all everybody was saying how disappointed they were to this book compared to the first one, I was absolutely scared to read it. But I am in this book club. Shout out to the Eyes and Elders book club I'm in, and we've been reading a lot of black science fiction novels. And they definitely broke down this book and had me enjoying my experience reading it. A little bit about what Children of Virtue and Vengeance is about. I don't want to spoil too much in case you have not read the series, but the first book was Children of Blood and Bone. We learned about the Magi, the diviners. They have magic abilities, but magic was stripped away from them by the king, the ruler of this kingdom called Orisha. I think I'm describing it right. But magic was taken away from them, and in the first book, they're trying to bring back magic. In the second book, spoiler alert, magic is back, and now they're trying to take over the kingdom and who's going to rule the kingdom. And it's a lot of war, a lot of battles, a lot of action. I thought this book was so good, y'all. One of the things I really enjoyed about this book is as we were introduced to new characters, the way the author described them, y'all. There was a character who was dark-skinned and beautiful, but they had these pale pigmentations on them, which lets you know this character has vitiligo. There was a character with albinism, and I just thought it was so beautiful. There were light skin, dark skin magi, all this different spectrum of black people, and they had magic. And there was also different textures of hair. There were long dreads, short dreads, shaved hair, curly hair, coily hair. So I love that she describes so many variations of black people, and they all had magic. These characters, they're able to take water and make a tunnel so everybody can walk under it. They can take rocks and build a bridge over mountains so that everybody can step across and get from point A to point B. I feel like this is a testament to who black people are today. We all have magic. We're able to make something out of nothing. We live in a system that was not set up for us to succeed, but the fact that so many black people are succeeding and finding ways around these obstacles and are finding the strength and the knowledge and just the know-how within themselves to really elevate themselves, their families, and the communities is beautiful and it's magical. This book was really good. I do recommend you guys read it, but I will tell you that the ending was a little bit for me. I'm not going to spoil the ending, which is really what I think gives people a sour taste in their mouth towards the third book and towards the second book as a whole. But what I will say is that one thing that really stood out to me in this book as the I really did not like, besides the ending, was the fact that Zelly and Amari are both magical, they're both powerful, they're both strong leaders. They have great leadership skills, y'all. They're great fighting skills. They're so passionate about the people they love and want to protect. But I felt like during this book, these two were on a seesaw. When Zelly was down, Amari was up. When Amari made a mistake and was down, everybody was on Zelly's side, hyping her up. And I just really wanted to see these two black girls come together and be a strong force together. And so that kind of let me down, that I didn't see the two of them come together. It was this constant seesaw. It was this constant having to pick a side. And I did pick a side. I picked Amari because her character really spoke to me this book, and I really love what she stood for. But this back and forth of okay, we got to bring Amari down in order for Zelly to rise up. No, you can have two fierce black women together making amazing things happen. And I'm hoping in the third book that I get to see more of these two characters coming together to really turn this kingdom around. Because this kingdom is in shambles. So the last book that I read in the month of March was Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. Y'all, this woman is a genius. I just wanted to get that out there. This woman is a genius because her books just take me there. And it's I'm one of those people who when I read something, I'll just kind of, that don't make sense. And I'll just kind of toss it to the side you know what? I'm not going to worry about that. Let me just keep reading. But it's those little moments Tiffany puts in her books for a reason, because she wants you to really think critically when you're reading these books. This story picks up with Mary, who's 16 years old. She's living in a group home for girls. She was recently transmitted to this group home from baby jail, which she calls prison. She spent 6 years in prison for allegedly killing a white baby who was 3 months old, Alyssa. Her mom was babysitting Alyssa, and somehow the baby ended up dying, and the fall came on Mary. Mary finds out at the beginning of the story that she is pregnant for her boyfriend. When the CO and her social worker find out about this pregnancy, they tell her that because of her conviction for the murder of an infant, she is not going to be trusted with a baby. And it's just a gut punch for her, because she's like, what? So I'm going to have to give my baby up to the system? I'm not going to be able to see my baby? And it's that gut punch. Plus, she wants to take the SAT and go to college. And they're constantly telling her, girls like you who've been to prison, who are in the system, cannot go to college. They're having her take classes to be a cosmetologist, and she really wants to go to college. She's studying an SAT book. So this whole time, y'all, I'm just rooting for Mary. I want her to tell her truth. I read this book in the lens of how often black people are just guilty. It's no innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty. Oh, that black girl did it. And so I kind of read this book in the vein of no, she didn't do something like that. No, a 9-year-old girl could not possibly do that. It's just my heart went out for Mary. It really did. Y'all, this book was so good. I will say the ending kind of, halted me a little bit and kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. But then I had to really reflect on how genius Tiffany D. Jackson is. And I was like, you know what, Kim? You can't be mad that you didn't see this coming. The breadcrumbs were there, you just ignored them. And so I think books like this really challenge you as a reader to pay attention, to really think critically. And I'm looking forward to reading more from her. I know some of you viewers have told me y'all have read Grown or are reading Grown. So I think that'll be the next one I read by her. I definitely give this book 5 stars, and I recommend that you guys really read it. So what was your favorite book of the month, and what are y'all looking forward to read? Thank all of you for the recommendations. I plan on reading some of those this month. So thank you again for tuning in to another Books with Kimberly video.